Hey, I'm Cash, and today I'm going to show you how I turn these 5 thin plies of wood into this fingerboard with all the steps along the way. So I have made 7 plies before, but most fingerboards are made out of 5 plies, so that's what I'm doing right now. 3 of the plies grains are going long ways, and 2 of the plies grains are going short ways. And I'm going to stack them in the mold with the plies going long grain, short grain, long grain, short grain, long grain. And to glue all the plies together, I'm going to be using this polyurethane-based Gorilla wood glue, but this stuff is super sticky, so I'm going to be putting gloves on, that way I don't stick my fingers together like I did the last time I made a board. Now this glue expands as it dries, so I don't need to put that much on. But I do want to make sure that it covers the whole ply, that way there's no weak spots in the board. And to spread the glue, I'm going to be using this thing that I made with the popsicle stick and some packaging tape. The popsicle stick is just to make sure that the glue gets spread across the whole ply, and the packaging tape is to make sure that the glue can peel off easily once it's dry. That way then I can reuse it. Now once we get to the last ply, we're not going to put any glue on it because that's going to be our face ply and it's not going to be glued together on anything. Now I'm going to get my mold ready. The mold that I'm using is our Create Your Skate mold. I've always used this mold and it's awesome, perfect for learning how to make boards, and once you get pretty good at it, it's still an amazing mold. Now I'm going to stack my plies in the mold, and to protect my mold, I got these 2 thin pieces of cardboard and I layered them with packaging tape. That way it protects the mold and the plies, and the packaging tape helps make sure that the plies don't get stuck to the cardboard because I can just peel the glue right off. Now when screwing the mold down, first I tighten as much as I can with my fingers, and then I go through with some tools to make sure it's down all the way, and I have to make sure that all sides are even, that way the board isn't off-centered. And now I let the board sit for 24 hours, and then once the 24 hours is up, I drill the holes. The Create Your Skate mold that I use has some holes in the mold, that way I can get them lined up perfectly first try. And here is the uncut deck. As you can see, some glue did seep through, but I can just sand that down. So now I'm going to take a Dremel and just shave it down, that way it's not as much to cut on the router. And once I have all the excess wood off, I put the board back on the shaper and I take it to the router. For me, this is a really quick and easy way to get the board cut precisely to shape. Once I'm done shaping the board, then I take a Dremel and do a rough rounding of the edges before I go over with the sandpaper. Now, when I sand the board, I use a bunch of different grit levels of sandpaper. I start with the lowest grit, which is going to be the roughest and take the most wood off, and then end with the highest grit, which is going to be the smoothest to make the board smoother. Now, once I finish sanding the board and rounding the edges, I take a countersinking drill bit and I drill a wider hole to the middle ply. That way the screws fit nice and flush with the top of the deck. And that is one side with the countersinks done and one side without. Now, some boards I'm doing artwork on, like I am with this one, I already made the background look kind of faded and worn, and now I'm going to go over and draw a skull along with the ExRay words and make it look kind of faded, because I want it to kind of blend in with the back of the board, but not that much. Here I'm going over with the black, and now it's time to clear coat the board. I'm using a lacquer, not a clear coat, and this just works a lot better. And I do a bunch of thin, light coats, and after the first coat, I go over and sand it, and that just helps it go on a lot smoother. And here is the final product. It is a 34 by 98 millimeter board. And this board will be for sale. It will include the board and one sheet of foam grip tape. If you're interested in buying this board, just message me on Instagram, and I also have a bunch of other boards in stock. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more content and products, please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in buying a board, go over to Instagram at ExRay Fingerboards and message me.